Welcome to The Deciding Point, our Cracked Racquets weekly breakdown of the biggest storylines happening throughout the tennis world. On this week's show, we've got to put a bow on our coverage of the 2021 Wimbledon. Ashley Barty emerging as your lady singles champion, solidifying her spot at the top of the WTA rankings, earning the second slam title of her career as well. Of course, we also have to talk about some of the other storylines. Who were the biggest winners of the natural surface swing, the clay and grass court seasons here in 2021? Who are the players we should be watching most closely heading into the summer hard courts? And then, of course, who are the players closest to capturing the first Grand Slam titles of their careers? All of that and more on today's show. With that in mind, Westhoff, roll those credits. Let's get to it. With the conclusion of the 2021 Wimbledon comes the end of the natural surface portion of the 2021 calendar. Now, of course, natural surfaces referring to those surfaces that you can find out in your environment. Surfaces like a clay, surfaces like a grass court, essentially anything that isn't the cement, paved hard courts that we're about to see play out over in North America. And what's so fascinating to me when we reflect on this portion of the calendar is that you look at the players who were the biggest risers, whether they made the biggest rankings jumps, whether the advanced statistics offered by our friends at Tennis Abstract suggest that they have made big rises as well. It's notable that these players are players you will also see have success on hard courts. It speaks to the similarity now of the surfaces, and it also speaks to the fact you really do have to be a well-rounded player now to have success at the highest levels of the game. There are no one surface specialists really anymore, or certainly if you are a one surface specialist, your upside in terms of how high you can get up the rankings has certainly been minimized over the course of the past few seasons. You look at the biggest winners on the women's side. Iga Swiatek, she's now 5th overall in 2021. Elo 5th overall in overall Elo. She's 8th overall in the WTA rankings. You look at someone like Barbara Krejcikova, probably your biggest winner of the natural surface portion of the year. She's now 7th overall in ELO rating, 2nd here in 2021, 13th in the WTA rankings. And for someone to have won a Grand Slam title in the past calendar year and be ranked outside the top 10, for that player to follow it up by making the 4th round of Wimbledon, kind of ridiculous. So story for another time. That's why I speak to the advanced metrics. But again, you look at an Ons Jabeur, 9th overall ELO, 4th in 2021. She's 23rd in the WTA rankings. That's ridiculous. And I think we'd all agree she's played closer to that 9th overall ELO rating than she has 23rd in the WTA rankings. Goff right now, her splits 10, 7, 25th in the WTA rankings. Rybakina's 20th across the board. Badosa, 27th, 14th, 29th. Those 6 players, by the way, Swiatek, Krejcikova, Jabeur, Goff, Rybakina, Badosa. Those are your 6 names that made the round of 16 in both the French Open and Wimbledon. They all had various degrees of success, but let's be clear, they all had success throughout the extended portions of those seasons as well. As Jabeur, grass court title, of course, Goff, clay court title, Krejcikova, French Open title, Badosa, multiple deep runs. The only one who was really slam-centric in her success was Elena Rybakina, who has clearly caught fire now at the slams, and who we can all tell that power tennis, when she plays her best, she can compete with anyone on any surface. It's just interesting because those are the players who are the biggest risers, who come into the summer hardcourt portion of the season in the best form, but those are players we all saw experience success early in the season as well. Certainly someone like Krejcikova was limited by the fact that, her ranking just wasn't as high as it is now, and she's going to get to play a higher level event. Someone like Badosa, who, was on the wrong plane on the way to Australia and whose game suffered since, coming out of that Australia bubble with nothing but success for Paula Badosa-Jabeur. All of these players, I think we should expect them to continue their success into the hardcourt portion of the year because all of their games translate across across surfaces clearly. And if you can have success on clay and you can have success on a grass court, hard courts are those happy middles, right? And certainly we've seen Ons Jabeur make a quarterfinal of the Australian Open. Iga, 4th round Australian Open this year. And, Goff, Rybakina, Badosa, the well-roundedness of all of their games, Krejcikova as well. There's no reason to think it can't translate to a hard court. And again, all of these names of the players I'm talking about, they're all 26 years old or younger. This speaks to this next generation, the shift we're seeing in the WTA rankings. There's a new, not only top class of players competing for Grand Slam titles, but there's a new, top half as well. There's a new top 30. That next generation has solidified their foothold, not just at the slams, but day in, day out, week in, week out at the tour events as well. All of these names to highlight heading into the hard court season. All of these names breakthrough players here in 2021. Obviously, all to varying degrees. But again, the players who made the round of 16 at both the French Open and Wimbledon. Swiatek, Krejcikova, Jabeur, Goff, Rybakina, Badosa. There's no reason those players can't reach another round of 16 at the 2021 US Open. There's no reason those players can't continue to have success here on the hard courts. And if they do, we're not just going to be talking about them as top 10, top 20 players advanced metrics-wise. With the WTA rankings beginning to open up, we're going to start talking about them as top 20, top 15, maybe even top 10 players in the WTA rankings. And to be honest, with their results of late, with how well-rounded all of their skill sets are, that's the sort of conversation, the breadth of conversation, I should say, they belong in the WTA hierarchy.